What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye 2-pack, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into this, starting off with this awesome looking packaging. I really love this new box art that Hasbro's been using with their recently released figures. I think it looks very cool. We are able to see the figures right here with all their accessories. Up front here we have an X-Men logo, and then it says Marvel's Logan and Marvel's Hawkeye. On the side of the box we get some really cool artwork of Hawkeye himself. And then on the back, we get that same artwork, but it's kind of blown up. And then we have some artwork of Logan. And then on this side, we have a kind of brought out shot of Logan. So that looks cool. And the packaging is collector friendly, just like all Marvel Legends figures. But enough about the box. Let's go ahead and rip these guys out and take a look. And so here we have Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye out of the box. And I'm going to tell you right off the top, this is a really nice 2-pack. Both of these figures are very well done. Obviously, Hawkeye is the star of the show, but I am surprised by how much I like this Old Man Logan figure. So let's go ahead and start this off by taking a look at him. Obviously, he's basically just a reuse of the previous Old Man Logan figure with a couple of new parts, but the things they added on to him really make him feel different. So I think they did a good job with it. But let's go ahead and compare him to the previous one. This is the Old Man Logan from the Warlock Build-A-Figure wave, I believe it was. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But as you can see, the upper torsos are exactly the same. The arms are exactly the same. The pants are the same. The boots are different because the boots on the previous Old Man Logan have a design on them, and the boots on the new Old Man Logan are smooth. So that's kind of interesting that they did that. And then obviously the head sculpts are different. The new Old Man Logan does come with this exact head sculpt as well. So if you want a version of him without his hat, you can do that. But yeah, I do like the way this new one looks. I prefer the duster to the bomber jacket. The bomber jacket kind of feels like the more recent Old Man Logan run, and the duster jacket kind of feels more like the original Old Man Logan book by Mark Millar. So I think that's really dope that you could represent both versions. I think this is a great figure. I was a big fan of the original Old Man Logan figure that they released, but I'm really happy to see one that's a little bit more accurate to the original comic run. But one thing I will say that I really dislike about both of these Old Man Logan figures are the shitty ass claws, man. These things are whack. Look at the way they look. This was like right out of the packaging. And yeah, you could like put them down and glue them and make them look good or whatever, but I really wish we didn't have to. I just wish that he came with the claws that were on the X-Force Wolverine. Hasbro had it down with those, but then for some reason they backpedal. And honestly, I wish this Old Man Logan figure just came with a set of fists, because in the original Old Man Logan book, he didn't want to pop his claws out. So what I like to do is put the Iron Fist hands on there, the Iron Fists that have the wraps on them. So let's go ahead and show you that. Probably going to have these hands on this body for the rest of the review, only because it just kind of gives that feeling like he has his hands wrapped up like he's hiding something, you know? So usually with my Old Man Logan figures, well, with the previous one, I used to have the Iron Fist hands in there, but now the Iron Fist hands are going to go to this one here. Bam, look at that. So that's how I'm going to display him, and I really wish that he came with a pair of fists, whether wrapped or unwrapped or whatever, because that was a big part of that comic. But anyways, aside from those really bad claws, I think this is a really nice figure. And I think they did a really nice job with this brand new Logan head sculpt. I think the face is very well done. I like the facial hair. The eyes look good. The facial expression is very nice. Everything about it is really well done. And the hat looks good. I love the way that the hat casts a really nice shadow over the eyes. Look at that. That's really dope. And speaking of the hat, it's not removable, but he does come with an alternate head that doesn't have a hat on. But it is the same head sculpt that we saw with the previous Old Man Logan figure, but it doesn't have as much paint detail as the previous one, so that's kind of goofy. But still, it works, you know. I think that's a good looking head sculpt, but I would have preferred if they would have given us this head sculpt without a hat instead of that other head sculpt. But it's all good, because chances are, I mean, for me, the hat would stay on all the time anyway, so I'm fine with how it worked out, but it looks good. Look at that. And the hat is very nice. It is soft plastic, but I like how it looks all beat up and old and like ripped and messed up. Same thing goes for the jacket. There's like a bunch of holes in it, and it's all tattered, and it looks like he's been wearing it for a long time. Same thing back here. We've got a bunch of rips and holes and stuff. And the jacket is really nice. It's a light brown, but they also did a little bit of dry brushing work on there to bring out the details. So yeah, I really like the way this duster jacket thing looks. In the body, obviously we already know what's up with that, but it is very well sculpted. There's some creases and wrinkles and all that kind of good stuff. And then the belt looks really nice too. The jeans have a bunch of texture. And yeah, the sculpt on this guy is really, really nice. And just take a quick look at these bad claws, man. These things suck. A lot of times with Hasbro claws, I just glue the claws in place and leave them, because I guess the idea is that you could remove these and then he would have fisted hands, right? But then you got these big ugly holes, so I was never really into that, you know. Like I said, I would have preferred if they would have included wrapped up hands or hands with no claws or whatever. But, you know, there's plenty of Marvel Legends figures that have fists that maybe we could take from. For me, I let Logan rock like that, you know. I like these right here. And aside from the two heads, the only other accessory that Logan comes with is Baby Hulk. And this is very nice. I like the purple pacifier. And look how mad he looks. He looks super pissed off for being a baby. But yeah, this is really nice. And just to compare him to the Mezco one, you can see the Mezco one actually looks a little bit more human than this one. The Legends one actually looks like a little mini baby Hulk. The Mezco one just looks like a baby painted green. But they're both very cool. It's a really cool accessory to include with Old Man Logan. So, the Old Man Logan is a really cool figure, but the main attraction for this set is this Hawkeye. Hasbro did such a great job on this thing. It's almost hard to believe that it's a Hasbro figure, and that's coming from somebody that generally likes what Hasbro has going on. I think they're doing a great job with all their different lines. Power Rangers, G.I. Joes, Marvel Legends, they're killing it. But this Hawkeye figure feels like a step above a lot of other things that they produce. This guy almost feels like an import figure. So I'm really happy with this thing. Check out the sculpt on it. He's got the pinless arms and legs, and everything about it just looks really, really good. The articulation is nice too. I don't think I have any real gripes. Again, I always say that I prefer a diaphragm cut, but in Hawkeye's case, it doesn't bother me at all that he doesn't have a diaphragm cut, because the waist and the ab articulation, you know, they work really good together, so it's fine. But yeah, this thing just came out really nice, and I don't have any complaints. There's nothing negative that jumps out to me about this figure. So man, they did such a good job. But let's get in close and take a look at the sculpted details, because Hawkeye is a completely brand new sculpt as far as I could tell. They did a really nice job on it. I like everything we have going on here. Check out the hair, how it has that blowing in the wind type of look to it. I love the gray with the lighter gray on top of it. Same thing going on with the beard. All of it looks really nice. And then look at his facial expression, man. He looks super pissed. I love the way the eyes look too. They're very well painted. They don't look sloppy or bad at all. Man, this has got to be one of the best Hasbro head sculpts. They killed it, man. Really, really good stuff. And this is based on the way that Hawkeye looked in the more recent Old Man Hawkeye stuff, where he's running around hunting the Thunderbolts. I haven't read it, but I read about it, and I'm familiar with the way that he looks. So I know that that's what this head was going for. But yeah, they nailed it. And just in general, it's just a good looking head sculpt. And someone brought this up to me. I can't remember who it was, but they said that it looks like Whistler from Blade. And that's pretty... yeah, that's pretty accurate, I'd say. So maybe you could use that for a custom Whistler. Actually, this whole figure could probably work for a custom Whistler. Just maybe repaint it to make it look different. But anyways, yeah, this head sculpt is really, really good. Very well done. And the alternate head sculpt is just as well done. I like this one a lot too. And this is based on the way that he looked in the original Old Man Logan comic, where he was blind. So I think this is really dope. He looks just as badass. But man, look at that. They did a great job on it. Same thing going on. We've got the gray with the light gray brushed in there. This time around we have his glasses on. And look at that. I just like Old Man Hawkeye. I just like the idea of Old Man Hawkeye. Just an old blind archer. That's crazy. And he's such a badass in that book. And this figure just like conveys that badassery so well. So yeah, man, they killed it. They did a great job. But let's move on from these awesome head sculpts and take a look at the rest of the body. As you could see, the torso does have some wrinkles and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of muscle definition, but it still looks really good. And then we have the pinless arms. Check that out. That is super dope. That's what really gives this figure like an import kind of feel to it. Same thing on the inside here. And then he does have his bow gripping hand. One thing that kind of sucks is that the paint's kind of rubbing off onto his hand. We'll take a look at the bows in just a second here. And then he's got this bag that hangs loose. And the detail on the bag is really well done too. You could see some leather type of texture on there. There we go. That looks nice. And then he does have these like shoulder straps that look really good too. You can see a little bit of stitching detail on there. And this is removable if you want to take them off. But I prefer to keep the shoulder straps on, because right where they're at, they do a really good job of covering up the butterfly joint. So that's really nice. And then moving on to this arm here, he's got his elbow wrapped up in a bandage that looks really nice. Once again, no pins. And then on this hand, he has a glove. Got a belt at the waist. The pants look really good too. We do have some sculpted pockets, some sculpted knee pads, and then the boots look nice too. I like how they gave the boots some different color, you know. We've got some like a greenish type of color and then dark brown, so that's nice. The laces are very well sculpted. Oh, and then he does have his quiver. I think that's what it's called, right? But for mine, I was having a lot of trouble getting this thing to stay, so I had to put a couple of layers of glue onto the peg there, and then now it's kind of tight. But this quiver isn't the best thing ever. We have seen it before. But, you know, it serves its purpose. In addition to the two heads, Hawkeye does come with some other accessories, including another set of hands. So aside from the ones we've already looked at, he does have a set of open hands. And then he does come with two different types of bows. And the first one here is kind of just a, I don't know how to describe it, like a relaxed bow or a bow without an arrow, not drawn, just something that you could kind of use for Hawkeye in a neutral pose. And then the other bow is one that actually has a arrow pre-molded into it, and it's kind of pre-drawn. And this is cool because you don't have to worry about trying to get Hawkeye to grip onto the like string or piece of plastic or whatever. It's kind of pre-done for you, so it makes it a little bit easier to pose him in an arrow shooting pose. So I like this a lot. And here's a closer look at the bows, starting off with this one here. There's not a whole lot going on, but it does look really good. You could see that they put some pretty nice sculpting work into it, but there's not a whole lot of paint. It's basically just black. But, you know, it's fine. Like I said, it does serve its purpose. And then we do have this one here, which is really cool. I actually like this a lot. It really makes it easy to get Hawkeye into like arrow shooting poses. So I do like this a lot, but the one thing I don't like is the fact that the arrow is just gray plastic. It looks very cheap. I wish they would have painted it brown or something. Same thing with whatever this is. I guess this is some kind of like string or something. Same thing with the actual drawstring. All that could have been painted up to look a lot better. As it is now, I like the idea of it, but the execution does feel a little cheap. But overall, I think it's a very cool accessory. And now for some quick size comparisons. Here we have Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye alongside the previous Marvel Legends Old Man Logan and the Mezco 112 Collective Old Man Logan. And if you were thinking about posing Hawkeye alongside the Mezco Old Man Logan, then it would kind of work because, as you could see, the Mezco figure is shorter than Hawkeye, but I don't think the height difference is significant enough. So you'd have to set it back a little bit, maybe fudge around with perspective and those kind of things. But, you know, at the end of the day, he is a little shorter, but just not enough for me to like it that much, you know. So I would really like to see Mezco do an Old Man Hawkeye. I think they would do a great job with it. But for now, for the most part, this Old Man Hawkeye is going to hang around with this Old Man Logan. And as you can see, it does look like he's a little shorter than the previous one. So I wonder where the height difference is coming from. Must be from like the head area, you know. But anyways, I like Logan short, so I'm happy with this new Old Man Logan. And then just because I would like to see an update of this costume, here we have them alongside the old Marvel Legends Face-Off Sabretooth from Toy Biz. I would love to see Hasbro's take on this version of Sabretooth, and I would just like to see them give us a new Sabretooth. I don't like the one they gave us in the Apocalypse Wave. But anyways, yeah, I like this version. And then over here, if you do want to use Hawkeye as Whistler, here we have a look at him next to the Mezco 112 Collective Blade, and I really think that would work, actually. And then here we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Weapon X from the Sugarman Build-A-Figure Wave, and then we also have the Hawkeye figure from the very first Avengers movie, and that figure's pretty old at this point, but yeah, they're using the exact same bow with this new Hawkeye as they did on that old Hawkeye, so that kind of sucks, man. I do like that other pre-posed bow that they gave us, but they got to come up with another, like, neutral bow, because this one is kind of outdated at this point. Unless they're going to start adding a bunch of paint to it or something to bring out all the details. But yeah, that's kind of funny that they're still using parts that are that old. And then, of course, here we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And then just to throw them in here with a couple of random figures, here we have them alongside the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael in Disguise, and then the Mezco 112 Collective Orlok. And just in case you were wondering, you are able to swap the heads between these two figures. If you go ahead and pop off the Mezco one and take the Marvel Legends head, you can put it onto the Mezco body. It's not really going to pop on or anything, but it does sit right on top of the neck there. So if you want to do that, that's something that kind of works. I do feel like it's a little small, but you could still kind of fudge it if you prefer that look. And you can put the Mezco head onto the Marvel Legends body, but it doesn't really pop on all the way. And I really don't like to do this because then it makes the hole a little bit bigger on the Mezco head. But, you know, once you take it off, it kind of, you could squeeze it down back into place, you know. But if you do this, don't try to turn it because you might break that ball joint. But if this is something you want to do, maybe just for some certain pictures or just to have like a different looking Old Man Logan, you could definitely do that. And there's the hat. That looks kind of cool, right? But yeah, so there's some head swapping potential there. But again, I'm probably going to go ahead and leave my Old Man Logan just like this because I think he looks badass. And as if this Hawkeye wasn't already badass enough, let me show you something I did to mine to make him even more badass. So I got this awesome cape from Harker Customs that was intended for the brand new Black Series Mandalorian figure, but I was checking out some images of Old Man Hawkeye and I noticed that he had like a cape cloak thing going on, and I decided to throw this Mandalorian cape onto this Hawkeye, and now I'm even more in love with this figure. It was already like one of my favorite Marvel Legends of the year, but doing this, man, this really takes it over the top. And you know, Harker Customs always does incredible work. He killed it with this cape. But now I'm gonna have to get another one for Mandalorian. But yeah, man, this is really, really cool. And I know it's not completely accurate to the comic, but still, it works well enough for me. Look at that. That looks so good. And for articulation, let's go ahead and start off with Logan. Since there's not a whole lot of surprises here, he basically has the exact same articulation as the previous Marvel Legends Old Man Logan figure. So let's get into it, starting off with the head. The head does move side to side. It is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of tilt, which is nice. He could look up to about right there. His jacket kind of gets in the way, so you have to mess with it a little bit. And then he could look down to right there. That's a really good amount. And then he does have a nice ab crunch. So that works. He has a waist swivel. And then for the arms, he's got like ball jointed type of shoulders. And they do go all the way around, but the jacket does kind of get in the way of it moving all the way around. But it doesn't really get in the way of any actual posing that you'll do with Wolverine, you know. So it's fine. And then he does have an upper bicep swivel. There we go. He has double jointed elbows, which get a pretty good bend to them. Check that out. That'll work. And then for the hands, he has a swivel and a hinge. For the legs, they could come out to the side to about right there. He could kick forward to right there. Look at that. Bam. Bring them back to right there. Then they kind of start to go out to the side a little bit. Then he has upper thigh swivel. He's got double jointed knee, which gets a good bend. Does he have a swivel at the foot? Oh yeah, he does. He's got a swivel at the foot, which is great. He's got rocking ankles. You can bring his foot forward to about right there. And then you can bring him up to right there. So yeah, it's basically the same articulation setup that we've seen on pretty much all Hasbro, Wolverine, or Logan figures. I'm going to stick this hand back in because it looks way better. Let's go ahead and set him back there. And then for Hawkeye, we do have a brand new body, but it is a very familiar articulation setup. There's nothing too innovative, but I think everything we have going on here works really well. So I am very happy with the articulation on him. But let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the head. The head is on a ball joint, so it does move side to side. Then you get a little bit of tilt out of it, which is cool. He could look up to about right there, but then his hair kind of gets in the way. Then he could look down to right there, which is pretty nice. And then he does have a nice ab crunch. He could crunch forward to about right there. Then you could bring it back to right there. And then he does have a waist swivel. And this is where I would usually say, oh, I wish he had a diaphragm cut instead of this. But in this case, it works perfectly fine for Hawkeye, because one thing I usually don't like about this type of setup in comparison to a diaphragm cut is that when you turn the waist of the figures, you have this big crazy break between the hips and the lower abdomen. But with Hawkeye, you have a little bit of a break, but it's not that much, and it still looks pretty natural because you're going from his pants to his shirt, right? So it looks okay to me. And you know, this ab crunch gets really good range. So yeah, I probably would have preferred a diaphragm cut, but you know, I'm not complaining, and it's not really, doesn't take any points away from me when I'm thinking about this figure, you know. I'm happy with this torso setup with the ab crunch and the waist swivel. So good stuff there. And then for the arms, he does have butterfly shoulders, as you could see. And then ball jointed shoulders that do go all the way around. And you can bring them up a really nice amount. Check that out. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows, which get a really good bend. So that is awesome. And then for the hands, for the right hand, we have a swivel and your regular type of hinge. And then for the left hand, we have a swivel and then your vertical hinge. And then for the legs, they do come apart to about right there. He could kick forward to about right there. He could bring his legs back to right there, but you know, again, just like all Marvel Legends figures, they kind of start to go out to the side. And then we have upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, a boot swivel, rocking ankles. They also come forward to about right there, and then you can bring them up to right there. And yeah, that's about it for the articulation. You know, like I said, it's very familiar, but it's all very functional. And he's a lot of fun to pose and play with and mess around with. And even though like there's nothing mind-blowing here in terms of articulation, I think they did a great job with it, and he has everything that he needs. So I'm very happy with the posability and the fun factor when it comes to this figure. Alright guys, so overall, I think this is a great set, and both of these figures came out really nice. Old Man Logan is a good update to the previous version of the character. The last one that Hasbro put out was based on the way that he looked in the more recent Old Man Logan books, and this one is based on the way that he looked in the original Old Man Logan book. And I like this design a lot more because it feels a little bit more accurate to the spirit of the book, you know. And there it feels like a post-apocalyptic Western kind of world, and I feel like this is something that Wolverine would wear in that kind of atmosphere, you know, with this hat and the duster and all that stuff going on. So I like this design more, and I think they did a good job at putting it in figure form. The only thing I dislike about this figure are the clawed hands that he comes with. I think those things suck, and it's weird because they put out other Wolverine figures with good-looking claws, but then for some reason they went backwards with this Old Man Logan. I don't know why they didn't give him the same claws that the X-Force Wolverine had, or maybe the same claws as the recently released Fox Wolverine figures. The claws on those look good, so I don't know why they didn't give this Wolverine those claws. And I also wish that he came with a pair of fisted hands because, like I said, he only popped his claws out at the end of the Old Man Logan book. For most of the run, he had his claws retracted. So it would have been cool to be able to represent that without having to steal hands from another figure, you know? And I also wish that he came with a set of gripping hands so we could hold on to that Baby Hulk. That Baby Hulk is a very cool accessory, but it kind of sucks because there's no natural way for Logan to hold it. But, you know, those are small little gripes. Overall, I'm really happy with that Logan figure. I think he came out nice. But this Hawkeye figure, holy shit, this guy is definitely going to be one of the top 5 Marvel Legends figures this year. I think that once people get their hands on this guy, they're going to love it. Everything about it is pretty much perfect. The sculpt is very well done. The articulation is nice. The accessories are pretty cool. I do wish that we could see another like neutral bow instead of that old one that they've been using for years at this point. But I do appreciate the other bow that's kind of pre-posed with the arrow in there. I think that's kind of cool, but I do wish that it had a little bit of paint. So, you know, the accessories are like a mixed bag, but for the most part, I'm happy with what we have here. And just in general, that Hawkeye figure is so badass. I just love this thing. I can't get enough of it, man. I can't put it down. I've been taking it with me everywhere, all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, I really, really love this figure, and I had a lot of fun taking pictures of him. And shout out to Harker Customs for this awesome cape that made it even more badass. So yeah, this is a good figure. He's definitely up there as far as one of the best Marvel Legends of the year, and probably one of the best Marvel Legends that Hasbro has ever done. So I like it a lot. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. And that's it. Thank you very much. Peace.